Okay, well, I think we are ready to start. So, first of all, good morning, everyone. This is day 2 of the first Youth Digital Summit, and I'm really, really excited to be able to participate today and share with you about how you can build your brand if you're a teen or if you're a young person. And again, it's really about understanding what that is and why it's so important. So I'm really excited today, especially because I was also having a few technical challenges as we all jump into this digital world. But thankfully, the Digital Jamaica team were able to assist me through some of these things. So you'll notice that I'm going to be sharing my screen. It's not full screen the way I would like it because I'm afraid if I try to do that, then you may not see anything at all. So we're going to do it like this, and I'll also ensure that I share this presentation with the Digital Jamaica team so they can possibly upload at a later time so that you still have access to it. So of course, today we're going to be doing a workshop, which is all about building your brand, but specifically branding for teens and young people. My name is Naomi Garrick. I'm also known as the PR Chick, and I am really excited to join you all for this workshop. So here's a little bit about what we're going to be learning today. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you some actionable next steps on how to build a marketable brand and develop some strong networks online, even now, even at this early stage. So we're going to talk about what is personal branding and why is it important? How can you immediately start positioning your brand? And also using digital platforms to express your brand in a very productive way. So I'm going to introduce myself for those meeting me for the first time. Again, my name is Naomi Garrick. I'm also known as the PR Chick. I'm a personal branding coach. I'm a PR consultant. I'm also the founder of Garrick Communications, which is a boutique PR agency based right here in Kingston, Jamaica. I'm an author of 3 brand building books, and I'm also an international speaker. So you see that little pink box on the screen, right? And I call that my personal brand pitch because really that's what I use to communicate very quickly who I am. So in essence, I help individuals, professionals, brands, entrepreneurs, and executives to get clarity on who they are, understand what their unique value is, and then how to communicate that with their ideal audience. So really what I do is I help individuals to position, package, and then promote their unique personal brand. 1 second, folks, just putting my phone on do not disturb. And so I always want to know who I'm talking to. And now that you have a little bit of knowledge on who I am, I would love if you could quickly just share in the chat who you are, where you're joining us from, and what you're hoping to learn from this workshop today. Now, while you're putting that in the chat, I have created a worksheet specifically for this workshop, which I believe you will have access to download the worksheet. But we'll go along, and even if you don't want to start answering the questions right now in this session, you will still have access to the worksheet after, and you can go back through and answer all the questions that we're talking about today. So I'm very big on actionable next steps, right? Figuring out not just learning information, but what can I start doing today to start building this brand, to start communicating with my authentic voice, for using my experience and my journey to stand out in a noisy world. So we're going to get right into the presentation. So I came across this quote recently, right, by someone named Rory Veda, who is a personal branding expert. And he said that personal branding is the digitization of reputation. And what that really means is, and I'm going to ask you, so I'm not seeing where anybody is joining us from today. So I see that Tenaje K, I hope I'm not messing up your name, is joining. I see Shamika, I see Adian, Neil. Guys, let me know where you're joining from. So are you in Kingston? Are you somewhere else in the island? Maybe you're not even in Jamaica. Let me know where you're joining from. But in addition to that, I want to hear what your thoughts are on what personal branding could be. Oh, so we have St. Catherine, we have Portmore, Montego Bay. Awesome. Trelawney. Okay, so we have the whole island of Jamaica is here today. That's awesome. So personal branding, as I said, this guy says it's a digitization of reputation. And that's a really big word, right? And this whole thing is about how are we branding in this digital world. But we need to talk a little bit about personal branding anyway and what that is. So I would love if you could share in the chat, what do you think personal branding is and what does that mean in this digital space? And I'm going to get into a little bit more details about it so you can really understand what that means and how that affects how you're showing up, especially in this online world. So don't be shy. This is a workshop, so I want everybody to participate. But I'm still going to continue anyway, right? So let me tell you why personal branding has become so important right now. It's because now, more than ever, especially during this time of COVID-19, people are able to have access to your personal brand simply by doing an online search or doing a Google search, right? Just checking online. And it's the same way that for some people, when they are deciding to buy a product that's available online, they might do a search quickly to see what others are saying about it. What are some of the reviews? What are the ratings? Is there information about this product or service? Sometimes you meet someone or you come across somebody online, or maybe you saw somebody perform online or on a show and you're like, who is this person? I want more information. And the first thing you do is you quickly go online and do search in Google to find who this person is and to learn some more, right? It's the same thing with your personal brand. So it doesn't matter if you are an influencer, if you are a celebrity, if you are a corporate executive, if you're a student, if you're an employer, if you're an employee, everybody already has a personal brand. So it's not something that's reserved for, people that we see that are already in the limelight, right? That are famous or they're known, because everybody already has a personal brand. And I'm going to tell you why. So personal branding is a couple of different things, right? One, it's how you see yourself. The thing is that sometimes we see ourselves a certain way, and that's not necessarily what we're projecting for the rest of the world. So then your personal brand also becomes, what do others have to say about you? Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon, says that personal branding is what people say about you when you're not in the room. Personal branding is also how you make people feel. It's a thing that you want to be known for. So when someone says your name, what are some of the words that you'd want people to associate with who you are? So those are all of the things, right? And then you think about also, what is your unique value? What is a problem that you solve? What are some questions that people just always come to you about? So let's say that you're a big sports fanatic, right? And so you always know the scores, you know all the players, you know all the trades. And so people will come to you as a point of reference when they want to get some facts or stats about sports. That means that you are known for sports. So it doesn't even have to be, personal branding is not only related to your profession. It's about what are the things that you are known for, right? What's that value that you offer? Maybe in school, you're just excellent at mathematics, which is not my area of expertise. And so people know that if there's a problem, you're the go-to person for this particular problem. So that's how I want you to be thinking about personal branding, not just thinking it is just for important people or established people. You all already have a personal brand, and it's for you to understand that and see how you can start using it even now, whether you're in high school, whether you're in university, whether you are starting your first job, whether you are an established executive, a celebrity, a CEO. There are opportunities available to you when you understand your own unique personal brand and how you can be communicating it effectively. So I see in the chat that some people said it's the way you market yourself. Yes, that's definitely a part of it. And someone also shared that, Shamika shared, personal branding is also essential for any influencer, business coach, or person who wants to share their story with the world. And the thing is, Shamika, it's not just for those who want to share their story with the world, because especially if you are already online, you have created a story that people are running with about your brand, whether it is accurate or not. So we have a responsibility to ensure that we are projecting ourselves the way that we need the world to see us, right? In our most authentic self. So I'm going to continue with the slide. So what is my personal brand, right? So I've created what I call the CBC method, which is a way to kind of really help you understand what your personal brand is. And to me, it always starts with clarity. A lot of time, especially as adults, we don't take the time to really think about who we are as individuals, right? We're so focused on the job that we want, what's next in our lives, and we don't take a minute to really think about who we are, what are the things that are most important to us, what are we passionate about, what are some of our short-term goals and long-term goals. It's the things that really make us who we are. And so in one of the exercises that you use in the worksheet, which I'll share with you, it really speaks about really getting that clarity, because that sets the tone for everything. And I'll give you an example. When I was in high school, I had no idea what I wanted to be. Even in university, I studied hotel and tourism management just because I thought it could be an industry that I would be good at. But I really didn't know. For me, 13 was a very young age to decide what subjects I wanted to do based on the career that I want. And it was the same thing for me at 16, and the same thing again for A-levels at 18. So if I had a little bit more time and clarity to really think about what do I really love to do? What are the things that already excite me now at that age? And how could I possibly use that in a future profession? Then maybe I could have realized at an early age that my love is really for writing, helping people, and really showing people how they can use this unique value that everybody has and express it to the world. And so you have an opportunity now at this stage to really get that clarity on your own brand, right? And it's not like hard stuff. Just start thinking about, and I'll have step-by-step examples in the worksheets that Katie just shared with how you can start thinking about your brand, but by getting that clarity first. So once you have that clarity, right, you understand who you are, what are your core values, what are you passionate about, then you start thinking about what's my value. And for value, it really means understanding through my own experience or education or my life journey to this point, what are the things I'm really, really good at, right? What are the things that people always ask me about? What are some of the questions that I always seem to have the answers to? And again, it doesn't have to relate to your profession. This is just as a person, thinking about writing down all those things. What are some of the things that are different about me that allows me to stand out? And I'll tell you why that's going to become more important, right, as you go through life. For example, when you graduate from university, you graduate with a degree in a specific area. Maybe there are 50 people that graduated with that same degree in your year. There's a job opportunity and they're looking for one person. Now, when you all show up for this job interview with the same exact degree, what else will you say on your application or in your resume that's going to add additional value to your degree for someone to choose you over someone else? So that's how you have to be thinking, right? What else can I do, or what else do I do whether it's work experience, community engagement, other extracurricular activities, summer jobs, experience. What are those things that I'm also doing that adds additional value so that I can be seen as the best, or I can be seen as doing something differently, and so I can stand out in whatever area I choose to be a part of. So once you understand that value, your unique value, and everybody has unique value, because even if someone does something similar to what you do, there is nobody that has the perception or the experience that you had doing the same thing. So nobody does what you do the way that you do it, but it's to figure out how do you do that thing differently or better. And then communication. So once you have clarity on who you are, you understand what your unique value is. So what are the things that set you apart? Then you are able to communicate that to the people that need to know who you are. So you have to start thinking, who am I trying to attract to my brand? And that helps you to decide, okay, even on social media, who are some of the people that I need to be following? Are there individuals, corporate executives, companies that I need to start following so they can start to see who I am? What are some of the places or online networking opportunities that I can be a part of so people can start to know me a little bit more? What are some of the social media platforms that I could be using to start promoting my brand and my knowledge and my expertise even now? So it's never too late. These are things that I'm talking about right now that I share with corporate executives that already have an established brand, but they're still trying to seek that clarity and really be getting very clear on their values so they can communicate it effectively and efficiently. So the next thing we want to do is we want to define your brand. So again, it's looking at those three things: clarity, value, communication. And so that's how you start defining your own personal brand. So what I'd love is in the chat, if you could even just share one word or a sentence. It could be a word or a sentence that you would use to describe your brand, right? And we don't have to get too deep. You don't have to think too hard, but just think about it. What are words that people use to describe me? Or how would I describe myself if someone asks? What's a word that I would use or a sentence I would use to describe myself? So Shamika says impeccable. I love that, Shamika. Anybody else wants to share? So I can tell you, for me, I am very creative. I'm a storyteller. I love ideation. And essentially, I want to be able to impact and inspire the lives of others through my work. And that's one of the things that led me to personal branding, right? And being a personal branding coach. So it takes time. So what happens is one of the exercises you'll get is about really doing a check-in to see what do others think about my brand and what do I think about my personal brand, to make sure that I'm showing up in the right way. So we do this work first, right? So before we get into, I know we're here about this online branding and we're going to get into that, but we have to start with the basics and really understanding, once we're online, what are we going to be sharing? How are we going to be showing up in this space? And so I want to go to the first activity, and it's around this whole thing about clarity, value, and communication. So if you haven't downloaded your worksheet yet, I'm going to ask you to use this time to download that. And I'm going to share a little bit about my own online brand journey. So as a personal branding coach, I understand that importance of showing up online, right? I understand the value of presenting your knowledge and expertise and being a thought leader. And so I use Instagram mainly as my tool to do that online. I have a LinkedIn profile, but I really wasn't using it the way that I should be. Not in the way that I recommend to my clients to use it. And I'm going to talk about LinkedIn because it's so important. And when we had the pandemic, I decided I had some time now to really explore that platform. And so I started showing up on the platform, updating my profile, connecting with other individuals, and sharing value. So sharing a lot of content about what I would share with like a coaching client or in my workbook. I started just sharing a lot of value about personal branding and answering questions that people would typically ask me. And what has happened over the last year and a half, just because I've been showing up in that space, connecting with people, I have an updated profile, it has led me to new opportunities, new clients, not just in Jamaica, but from around the world. I've been invited to speak in webinars, podcasts, other digital media platforms, just because people are now seeing me as a thought leader in this space because of how I have positioned my brand. So now if you were to do a Google search for Naomi Garrick or the PR chick, you're going to see multiple pieces of content. You're going to see me on LinkedIn. You're going to see my website. You're going to see YouTube interviews, podcasts, news reports, articles, right? And so what that does is it creates something that we call social proof. So that if someone hears about me and they decided to check for themselves online, up-to-date and relevant information is being shared. And so it shows that I am indeed an authority in this space and I'm not just saying I am. So that's what we want to start doing from now. We want to start building our own brand story and then putting that story online. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can actually share my worksheet. So I'm going to, so guys, bear with me, not technically challenged, but I'm going to try and stop sharing this screen and share another screen. So give me 1 second. So let's share again. Okay, awesome. Am I sharing? Let me make sure. Oh, great. Okay, so I'm sharing. So this is the worksheet, right, that we're doing. And I was trying to be very creative. I did this myself, guys, in Canva. Awesome. So for those who didn't realize, the worksheet is in the chat, so you can download it, right? So this is the Build Your Brand workshop for teens and young people. So clarity, value, communication, right? So we spoke about that earlier, and clarity is really understanding who you are, your core values, and your passions. So this is where you need your little notebooks, journals, a piece of paper, just in case you didn't have the time to print the worksheets. But remember, download it so you can print it later and fill them out. And this is some of the work that I want you to start thinking about, right, as we're going along. You want to write down, how would you describe yourself in a sentence? What are you passionate about? So list all the things that you're passionate about. You're going to write down your core values and beliefs. So these are the things that are most important to you, right? What are things that are important to you? Is it your family? Is it your religion? Is it giving back to your community? And then thinking about, what are you passionate about? Are you passionate about cooking? Are you passionate about animals? Are you passionate about biology? Are you passionate about community development? What are the things that really make you excited? That's what you want to write down. And then again, being able to create a sentence that really describes who you are. And if anyone wants to share in the chat as we're going along, please feel free, right? So this is what you want to look at. These things that really make up who you are as a person. So you can jot them down as we're going along. And then we spoke about value, right? So understanding your unique value, the problems that you solve, your skills, knowledge, experience, and education. So think about, what do you want to be known for? Or what do you want to be known for in the future? You want people to associate these words or a particular area of expertise with you. Write them down. What experiences support your brand or you think could help you in the future to become an expert? Because what we're doing, if we're not there yet, we're trying to get there. So we're creating a plan for our brand or a brand plan. So you want to write down, start thinking about, let's say you want to be a zoologist in the future. So you want to be known as an animal expert. What are some of the experiences that you've already done, or that you're doing now, or that you need to do in the future that will support this? So for example, it could be you do volunteering at Hope Zoo, right? Or it could be that you have participated in some kind of online summer course about animals, or you have read every book that National Geographic has created about the animal kingdom. What are the things that you are doing right now? And then what else do you need to do? So that means that, okay, you need to study biology and chemistry, because if you want to do that in the future, you need those two subjects. Okay, you need to start researching what are some of the best schools that offer something in this space for me? Or where else can I have more experience in this area, even while I'm learning and growing? What opportunities are available? Who could I speak to? Is there somebody right here in Jamaica that I could sit down and have an interview or conversation with them to hear about their own journey to becoming the expert in this area? So again, you're creating this brand plan to see what else do you need to do to support this value that you want to speak about. So for those of you who are not in university yet, and you're doing college applications, you want to be able to say that you have all this experience that supports the reason why you want to study in this area at a particular university, right? Or if you are applying for a job, you can say, well, even in addition to my degree, or even without the degree, I have had experience doing these 5 things that allows me to speak with a sense of authority in this area. So that's what we're doing. We're future planning for our brand. So this exercise here about what will you use to describe yourself is really important, right? Because I did mention that sometimes we may describe ourselves a certain way, but that's not necessarily how we are projecting ourselves to the world. So you want to be clear on what are the words that you currently use to describe yourself. So in the chat, we saw impeccable, creative, and artistic. You have to be aware of how you describe yourself so that you can also use those words when communicating with other people. And then the communication part. So understanding your ideal audience, your brand avatar. In marketing, we use that term to really describe getting very specific with who your audience is. Who do you want to speak to? Who can you help? Who needs to know who you are? So you want to think about, how are you currently communicating your brand to others? Is it just in person? Do you have an Instagram page? Are you on LinkedIn? Are you on other pages because of what you do, whether it is the company that you work for, or it could be something about your school and you've been included in that on their website? How are you already communicating your brand to others? And then thinking about, what is your preferred method of communication? Is it video? Is it social media? Is it the written word? Is it text? So it's looking at all of these different ways that, one, you understand how you're communicating right now, if at all. And then what's your preference style? How do you like to communicate in different spaces? And then you want to think about, who do you think could value from some of the information that you have to share with others? So based on what I'm good at, or what I think I'm good at, or I'm knowledgeable about, whether as a profession or in my personal life, who do I think would value from this kind of information? And then where can I share it to ensure that I'm reaching these people? So this is an exercise that I actually give my clients, right? This is to kind of, now we're getting into the digital space. You want to list the platforms that you're currently on. So what online platforms do you currently use? So list all of them and put the handles. Is it TikTok? Is it Instagram? Is it Snapchat? Is it just WhatsApp? Are you on LinkedIn? Do you have a personal website? Do you have a blog? what are the online platforms that you are on right now? Make sure you write the handles, right? Because this is important. And why I mentioned writing the handles is what's going to become important as your brands start coming out online, right? Again, you don't want to wait till you're already in the corporate world to start positioning your brand. You want to ensure that you save handles that are related to your name or what you want to be known for. So you want to have a handle so that people can find you. So you want to ensure that you reserve the handle, even if you're not using it right now, with your first and last name. You want to ensure that if eventually you want to have your own website, that you are saving that domain name from now, so that 5 years later, when you're ready, someone else doesn't already have it, and then you have to pay thousands of US dollars to try and buy that website domain back from somebody else. But you want it to be something that people will identify with you, and so that they can find you. So again, we spoke about the Google search. All these platforms, whether private or public, can come up in a search for you. So you want to ensure that it's something that is actually relevant to who you are and how you want to show up in this world, right? So I know we're young and we want to put some fun names, to be associated with, but think about how that affects this brand that you're trying to create. Maybe it's not the right time, maybe it's not appropriate, as fun as it may look or sound, but you have to think about the long-term effects of these choices that we make in this online space, because what you're doing is you're creating a digital footprint of your brand every time you post something, every time you comment on something, every time you like something, every time you share something, right? So it's not just about you posting. It's about, what does your profile look like? It's about, what are some of the things that you're giving that little heart to on Instagram, that other people are looking at that and making a decision about you, right? So it's not just what we post, but it's also the things we like, comment, and share. You want to think about, what's the purpose of being on each of these platforms, right? Because if you're like me, you might be on multiple platforms, but you really only need to probably be on 2 platforms. So you want to think about, why am I on this platform? What do I use this platform for currently? Is this platform even necessary for me? Am I just holding a space? Why am I here? We start with why. And if you can't find a reason, then maybe you don't need to be on that platform, right? So we want to be more purposeful with how we're using these platforms. So am I using it to build my personal brand? Am I using it to sell a product? Maybe I have a side hustle and I bake cakes. Do I have a page that's specifically for this business? Or am I using it as a page to inspire others? So I'm putting quotes about life and, how to move forward and your journey. What is the purpose of being on the page? Because that's going to determine what kind of content you should be sharing, right? So what you don't want is for someone to discover you online and they go on your page and then there's no content that supports this brand that you say you are. So you want to think about, as you're deciding on the platforms that you need to be on, what kind of content will I actually be sharing on these platforms that will support this vision that I have for my personal brand? So think about, and you can list it, right? You can just list, what are the things that I really would want to share? What am I knowledgeable about? What am I passionate about that I think I could use my platform to share this passion with others? Who can I help through my information and through the knowledge that I've gained through my experience or my education or my skills? And how do I start putting that out there so that even if someone's not searching for my name online, they may happen to search for this area that I speak about and I come up in those search results. So you're thinking now from as early as possible, how do I start building out this online reputation, right? And the online reputation is so important because, again, I mentioned in the beginning, because everyone has access to it with doing a simple online search. And Warren Buffett has a quote that says something like, it takes 20 years to build a reputation and only 5 minutes to ruin it. And if we think about that, we would do things differently. And we know that in this world that we live in, all it takes is a tweet, an Instagram post, a video, a screenshot, a voice recording that can be so damaging to your reputation that it becomes very difficult to build back. So we all have a responsibility with how we're using these amazing online platforms to really show up in these spaces, to give value and to create this brand, to amplify this brand that you have created, right? So that you are showing up the way that you want the world to see you. So that's really important, guys, right? To think about that. So every time, just think before you post. Think before you share. Is this post going to add value to my brand? Is this post going to add value to somebody else? Maybe you don't need to post today. So one of the things I always recommend is that to do a social media cleanse, right? Because sometimes we post things. I mean, how long has Instagram been around? I may have posted something 5 years that is not relevant to the person that I am today. But someone that decides to go through my Instagram feed may come across this post from 5 years ago that's no longer relevant and use it to cause some kind of mischief or harm. So you want to be aware, right? It takes some time to go back through the content that you've posted, because you don't remember what you posted last month, last year, 5 years ago, but other people have access to it. So they can go through all of your content. And you want to be aware of what's there and ensure that it is something that is relevant to your brand today. So take a moment this weekend, go through the platforms that you're on. And if there's content or if there are posts that are really not relevant to this brand that you're trying to build, delete the post or archive it, right? Remember, this is your brand that you're putting out for the world to make a decision about you. So take the time, go through your content and do a social media cleanse. Everybody's with me so far? I know Shamika is with me because she's been commenting a lot. I appreciate you, Shamika. So one of the things I really want to talk about, right, is updating your profile. So your profile on any social media platform almost becomes like a business card for your brand. This profile is what someone sees first. So it's the first impression someone has of your brand. And the thing it does, it starts with the image, right? So I always recommend to people, in your profile photo, are you showing up or are you dressing the way that you want to be addressed by others that come across your page, right? We have to treat these platforms like our own personal websites, and they're free. It just takes time for us to ensure we're positioning ourselves the right way. So you want to think, look at your current profile picture. Does it represent this brand that you're trying to create? And if not, what do you need to do to improve this image? No, you don't need to go and pay a professional photographer for a headshot. If you can afford to do it, great. But if you don't, that's fine, because everybody has a smartphone. You just need one that has good camera quality. Find a nice, clean background and have someone take that photo of you, not a selfie. And what it needs to be is what we call, it's a headshot, right? So it's from the bust up. When you do a full length photo, people can't really see who you are. It becomes very small. So you want to ensure they are seeing from the chest up to the face, right? So exactly like how you can see me on the screen right now, that's the perfect space for a headshot. So you want to ensure you're dressing the way that you want to be addressed. Your profile picture shouldn't have other people in it. Shouldn't be a selfie. And especially if you're trying to attract professionals, then you want to look professional. So again, you want to dress and show up the way that you want to be addressed. Now, After we've moved past the profile picture, what comes up next is that little about me section or space for little bio. You want to write down how you want to be perceived by someone that visits that page. So again, you think about, what do I want to be known for? You want to kind of give people a preview of what to expect as they continue to go through your page and your content, right? Sorry, my laptop is not plugged in and it's about to die, but I'm going to get it, guys. I'm going to get it. Okay, we're good to go. So you want to ensure that you are, what's in your bio, your profile, that about me section really represents who you are. I see some people use a quote. That's fine, but a quote still needs to speak to who you are as a person. So use a quote, but also tell people who you are. So I am a student studying hospitality, or I am a financial advisor helping people to make better financial decisions. You want people to know very quickly, okay, this is what this person does. I'm interested. I want to learn more. If you have a LinkedIn page, you want to put that as the web link, or if you have a blog or an article was written about you, put that as a web link, right? So if you have something that's relevant to your brand, you can use that as well. But the key thing is to ensure that that profile is updated, your bio or about me is updated, and it really speaks to who you are, right? Let's not use it to quote things that are not really relevant to who we are, and just because it sounds good or looks cool or it's cute. If it's not related to you, then it can confuse people, or it shows that you're not ready. And people's attention spans right now are very short. So you want to ensure when you have an opportunity to capture someone's attention, you are ready to go with the right tools. So then on the profile, is the content that you're on your page actually relevant to this brand that you're showcasing? So again, this speaks to going back through your content now, right? When someone sees me online, they see my profile, they see the bio, and I say that I am, let's say again, an investment advisor helping people to achieve their financial goals. And I'm like, oh, I want to follow Shamika because I want to achieve my financial goals. And then I scroll through her content and there is nothing about achieving financial goals. Then I'm just like, I feel like I've been cheated. So you want to ensure that you are actually talking the talk. So what you have advertised in your bio, I want to see that kind of content showing up in your page. So ensure that what you put as your headline statement or your about me, that you're actually sharing content that's relevant to that. So if that means that you need to consider creating a professional page separate from your personal page, that's fine. And I'll talk about that a little bit, right? Because I want to be very clear. Your professional brand and your personal brand is the same thing. And why is that so? It's because you are one person. So yes, there are parts of you that speak to maybe a profession or a level of expertise, and yes, your personality, maybe you reserve a lot of that for your friends and family, but people see you as one person. So you have to be very aware of how you're showing up, right? You can't be one person in the professional space and somebody else in another space, or somebody else online and then you're somebody totally different in person. It's confusing and it's not authentic. But what you can do online is you can have a personal page and a professional page. And maybe on your personal page, that's where you share like pictures of your family, trips, things that you like, books that you like to read. And on your professional page, it speaks more to your area of expertise. But it shouldn't be two different people. That's really what I'm trying to say. So for example, I have a Naomi Garrick page on Instagram, and even though that's my page that has the most followers, I think I have almost 10,000 followers on that page. People don't really follow it for personal branding. So I don't use it to post personal branding stuff because people aren't interested in that on that page. They want to see my dog, what I'm doing, books that I like to read, and stuff like that. So I had to create a PR chick page that's specifically for personal branding. And what I do is I will direct people from my personal page that are interested in personal brand development to the PR Chick page. And it's the same for my company page as well. So, but no matter which page you go on, page, website, radio interview, TV interview, you're going to see the same person. This is me online. This is me in real life. This is me on my social media channels. So I just want to be very clear that your professional brand and personal brand is still one person at the end of the day. So you have to be sure how you're managing that, right? And then, so I'm going to go back to the slide after this, but this is some home fun activity, right? It's not homework, but I want you to do this exercise. I want you on the weekend to write down 5 words that you would use to describe yourself. And then I want you to ask 10 different people, whether friends, teachers, lecturers, relatives, to provide 5 words that they would use to describe you. You're going to jot them down in your notebook, and you want to see, did people use the same words that you use to describe yourself? Were there new words that came up that you really liked and you can now incorporate that in your personal brand? And are there words that you didn't like at all and now you have an opportunity to correct that? So what this does is it allows you to do a very quick check-in on yourself, on your own brand, and how you are showing up and how others people see you, and are people seeing me the way that I think I'm projecting myself to the world. And then the second thing I want you to attempt to do is what I call the personal brand page. So this is what you can use to express who you are. This is what you can use in your bio, in your about me section, when you're introducing yourself to someone else, right? And what it is simply is including who you are, what you do, and how do you believe you can be of value to someone else, or to a school, or to a club, or to an organization. You want to include what you believe are your brand superpowers in this statement. So for example, this is one of the personal brand pages that I use for myself, right? So it says, my name is Naomi Garrick. I'm also known as a PR chick, and I help individuals and brands to stand out in a noisy world by positioning, packaging, and promoting their personal and professional brand across multiple platforms. So I want you to use that as an example, but think about in your own life, where you are right now or where you want to be in the future. And again, you're going to introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and how do you think through your own knowledge, education, experience, skills, provide value to someone else, right? This is something that you'll be able to use across the different platforms as you're promoting your own brand. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen and go back to the presentation. All right. So remember, guys, Kay just dropped the link in the chat so you can actually download this worksheet so that you have these activities to do on the weekend. So let me just reshare the other screen. All right, so let's get back here. Okay. So we spoke about clarity, value, and communication. And then we spoke about the social media audit, right? So doing your social media cleanse, checking to see your online profile and how you're already showing up in all these different spaces, the kind of content you want to share. But what I want to know is, how are you already showing up online? So if you could type in the chat what platforms you're currently using to share or just to connect with others, I'll be curious to see what platforms you use for social media and to connect. And then I'm going to just share a little bit of information as we're going through, because we only have 10 minutes left. So again, just a reminder, right? You want to start with an online search. You want to kind of get an idea to see, is there anything already on Google for me online if someone were to search for my name? And if there is, what is actually showing up? Is it accurate information? Is it up-to-date information? Is it me? Is there somebody else online with my name? Does that mean that maybe if I'm Tiana Samuels and I search for Tiana Samuels and I'm seeing other Tiana Samuels but not me, maybe going forward I need to put Tiana, my middle initial, Samuels, on all of my content or my social media handles going forward so that people can find me. So I discovered a couple years ago that there is actually another Naomi Garrick that lives in England. And so for my books, I put Naomi N. Garrick to ensure that I'm the right Naomi that's showing up. But just here's some interesting stats, right, about this online space. So only 5% of people look past the first page of Google. So you want to ensure that you are aware of what shows up for you on that first page of Google. And what's that first link that comes up? And then 65% of consumers trust online search engines the most when conducting research on a business. 85% of consumers trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations. 73% of companies consider LinkedIn to be the most effective site for finding qualified candidates. And 95% of businesses use social media in their recruiting process. So that becomes very important, right? So you could write a killer resume. You do your interview, it's awesome. And then you leave that interview and that HR professional decides, all right, let's see what's showing up in this online space for this candidate. And what shows up is maybe your Instagram page that shows a completely different person. Or what shows up is your LinkedIn page and there's no information on it or is not updated. People use this information that's provided online to assist with making decisions about you. So you want to ensure that you are showing up in this online space the way that you need to be addressed by your audience that you're trying to attract. And in many cases, that could be a potential employer. You want to figure out how you can create your own headline statement, right? So similar to the personal brand pitch exercise that you're going to do. And our one-liner is like our hit song, and we need to say it over and over until even our customers have memorized and started repeating it to their friends. So my headline statement is actually the PR chick. I've been using that consistently for the last 3 years, and now if you search for me, you're going to see the PR chick. And if you search for the PR chick, you're going to see my name come up as well. So I've been very intentional about that. But in addition to that, I want to be known as a personal brand coach for executives and entrepreneurs. But as you can see on my LinkedIn profile, I wear multiple hats. So I want to share the different things I do. So I'm a personal brand coach for executives and entrepreneurs. I'm a PR consultant. I'm a brand strategist. I'm an author and I'm a speaker. And I put all of that there so that I can be attracting the people that need these services. So you want to think, what could your one-liner or headline statement be that really represents your brand? We spoke about the importance of updating your online profiles and bios because your profile is usually the first impression that someone will have of your brand online. So you see with my profile, it's the PR chick, Naomi, the PR chick, helping individuals and brands to stand out as the experts in an on and offline world. Hashtag personal branding coach, speaker, author, and then I have a Linktree link that takes you to all of my different products, services, webinars, etc. Oh, guys, so I'm actually doing a free LinkedIn 101 webinar on Wednesday. So I just didn't want to forget about that. So if, in case you're interested in learning more about that platform specifically, when today's Future of Work Youth Summit is over, you can actually follow me on Instagram on the PR Chick, and you can actually click the link to register for the webinar. So it's free, and it's really just a LinkedIn 101, which will really help you to work on building out that LinkedIn profile and connecting in a meaningful way on the platform. Tiana has already registered. That's awesome. So you want to think about, what can I share? So you don't want to just have a holding space on these social media platforms. You want to be providing value. So in order to decide what you can share, the easiest way is to think about what are the problems that you currently solve. And again, it doesn't have to just be as it relates to your profession. It could be something else that you do very, very well, right? So you want to think about, what do I do really well? And I can actually help other people because I have this information and knowledge. That becomes a way for you to start thinking about what kind of content you can start sharing on your platforms. And then you want to start creating. So you want to find a style of content that you're comfortable with, and don't be afraid to try new things, right? The key thing is just to start. Start where you are, even if you're scared. I'm nervous every time I do a live on Instagram. It's a little bit nerve-wracking. You're just like, maybe nobody's going to show up and I'll just have to talk to myself for the 30 minutes, right? But nobody started with 1 million followers or 1 million views. We start with 1 and we work our way up, right? But the key thing, again, is just to start, like to not be afraid and to just start. So you want to think about what forms of content are you comfortable with, right? Do you like doing videos? Are you better at writing? So maybe you want to do some blog posts, or are you great at doing presentations on Canva? How can you share your expertise through some short presentations or a short carousel or slide on social media? So start where you are, build on those skills, and then start creating and sharing with your audience. And that's it for me, guys. I'm at 12:57, so we have 3 minutes to go. What I've done is I've included different handles and ways that you can connect with me as well. Shamika, you made a great point. I actually had a slide that spoke about consistency, but I think I accidentally deleted it. But yeah, the thing is that you have to be consistent with how you're showing up in the space. You don't want to get people excited and you're posting something today and then they don't hear from you again until next month. One of the ways to quickly build an audience and thought leadership and expertise is to be consistent on the platform or platforms that you choose to share on. I believe that is what has really helped me specifically on LinkedIn to grow my audience in that space, because I try to post something on LinkedIn every day, if not every other day. And so that has led me to start showing up more frequently in people's feeds. So that consistency is really important and can be a game changer. I would actually pose a challenge to you all to think about, how can you post something, start with once a week, right? If that's where you're comfortable. And then go to maybe every other day, and then you can get to every day, and then you can get to multiple times a day. But again, it's just a start. But before you start doing that, build the profile page so that when you start posting or commenting on other people's pages and they go back to yours, it's updated with the information that's relevant. So what I'll close with, guys, is that we right now have an opportunity to really show up in this online space and to be selected for whether it is jobs, internships, just connecting in a real way with thought leaders, individuals, experts, professionals. This is the first time that we actually have access to the world and the world has access to us. And all we have to do is ensure that we are using the tools that we have received to really position our brands in a way that we are being selected for these opportunities, because we are already showing up the way that the world needs to see us, with our talents, with our knowledge, with our expertise. And so I really want to encourage you guys to use these spaces that have become available to us. They're available for free, and using them as a way to start from now to position, package, and promote your unique personal brand in this digital world. So thank you very, very much, everyone. I really appreciate you taking the time to sign up for this workshop. And I wish you all the best with the remaining workshops that will be taking place today.